Okay, welcome in. I'm going to be reviewing all of Sunday's action from the NHL. There were 7 games on tap, starting with the teams you see on your screen as the Tampa Bay Lightning went into New Jersey to take on the Devils. We'll take a look and see how this game unfolded. There's no scoring in the first. We had to jump ahead to the second period. A minute and 27 seconds into that frame, Victor Hedman would get his 10th goal of the year from Kucherov and Hagel. Braden Point would score 4 minutes and 15 seconds into that same period, recording his 30th goal of the year, assisted by Kucherov and Hedman. 6 minutes and 1 second in that same frame, Tyler Toffoli would get the New Jersey Devils on the board, recording his 25th goal of the year from Jack Hughes and his brother Luke. After 40 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of the Bolts. In the third period, Hagel would get a goal of his own, recording his 22nd of the year, assisted by Point and Kucherov, 9 minutes and 38 seconds in that frame. And then with a minute and 35 seconds remaining, Kucherov would get his 38th goal of the year, assisted by Hagel. 4-1 would be the final score in this one. With the victory, the Lightning are 32, 23, and 5. They currently have the number 2 wildcard spot, while the Devils are still chasing that wildcard spot with a record of 29, 25, and 4. All right, the next matchup took place in Pennsylvania, where we had the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'll put that around. There we go. I really need like a black piece of paper. The Pittsburgh Penguins, and they were hosting the Philadelphia Flyers. This one would be a shootout, to say the least. It didn't take to a shootout to decide a winner. I just mean there were a lot of goals. All right, let's take a look and see who scored first and who scored last. So in the first period, Scott Laughton would get his 8th goal of the year from Liskell and Sanheim, 2 minutes, 11 seconds into that frame. Sidney Crosby would tie the game up 9 minutes and 38 seconds into that frame, getting his 32nd goal of the year from Rust and Raquel. Rust would add a late goal for the Penguins in that first period, 2 minutes and 45 seconds to be exact, getting his 17th goal of the year from Pettersson and Sidney Crosby. After 40 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of the Penguins. In the second period, Forster would tie the game up just 55 seconds into that middle frame, recording his 12th goal of the year, assisted by Tippett and Sean Walker. Rust would get his 2nd goal of the game, 8 minutes and 45 seconds remaining, 18th of the year from Carlson and Sidney Crosby. That would be a power play goal to note. Bemstrom would get a power play goal of his own, cutting the deficit to 4-2, getting his 6th goal of the year from Smith and Letang. Sorry, increasingly to 4-2, I should say. Sanheim would cut the deficit to 4-3 with 3 minutes and 27 seconds remaining, getting his 7th goal of the year from Couturier. Scott Laughton would tie the game up a minute and 3 seconds after that, getting a short-handed goal for the Flyers. His 2nd goal of the game, his 9th of the year from Cates and Cam York. So after 40 minutes of play, there were 4 goals aside. In the third period, O'Connor would break the tie 6 minutes and 41 seconds into that frame, getting his 9th goal of the year from Malkin and Puustinen. Raquel would increase the lead to 6-4, 8 minutes and 38 seconds into that period, getting his 6th goal of the year from Crosby and Pettersson. Cam York would score with 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go, cutting the deficit to 6-5. That would be his 7th goal of the season, assisted by Liskell and Forster. Letang would increase the lead to 7-5 with 4 minutes and 47 seconds to go. That would be his 7th goal of the year, and at that point, it was 7-5 in favor of the Penguins. With just over 2 minutes to go, 2 minutes and 3 seconds to be exact, Forster would get his 2nd goal of the game, his 13th of the year from Couturier and Scott Laughton. And that would be a power play goal to note. So 7-6 would be the final score in this one. Felt more like a football score than a hockey game. So with the victory, the Penguins are still chasing a playoff spot. Whether they catch it or not, that's up for debate. 26, 21, and 8 is where they stand at the end of this one. Despite the loss, the Flyers are still 3rd in that Metropolitan Division with a record of 30, 22, and 7. All right, the next matchup, I believe, took place in Buffalo, where we had the Sabres. They were playing host to the Carolina Hurricanes. So just bear with me. I'll get the team's logos up on the screen and a quick little review of how this game went down. In the first period, D'Angelo would open up the scoring for the Hurricanes, getting his third goal of the year from Bunting and Nishis, 2 minutes and 40 seconds into that frame. Skinner would tie the game up in the second with a power play goal, getting his 19th of the season from Cousins and Okposo. In the third period, Nishis would get his 18th goal of the year, getting a late power play goal for the Hurricanes, with just 5 minutes and 18 seconds to go, assisted by Shea and Teravainen. A minute and 13 seconds after that, Owen Power would tie the game, getting his third of the year from Krebs and Benson. Therefore, we would need extra time to decide a winner. Unfortunately, it would not be settled in overtime. We have to jump ahead to the shootout, where Middlestad would get the game-winning goal and give the Sabres a 3-2 victory. So with the win, the Sabres are 27-27-4, right around the 500 mark. It's very unlikely that they make the postseason. As for the Hurricanes, despite the loss, 34-18-6, they still have the second place in the Metropolitan Division as we speak. All right, the next matchup, I think, took place in Columbus, where we had the Blue Jackets taking on the team that was absolutely red hot heading into this matchup, the New York Rangers. If I'm not mistaken, coming into this matchup, the Rangers were on a 10-game winning streak. So we'll see how they fared against the worst team in that division. Voronkov would kick things off for the Blue Jackets in the first, getting a power play goal, his 16th of the year from Marchenko and Severson. Panarin would tie the game up with 5 minutes and 38 seconds to go, getting his 33rd goal of the year, assisted by Adam Fox. After 20 minutes of play, it was all tied up at 1. Marchenko would score just 18 seconds in that second period. That would be his 17th goal of the year, assisted by Voronkov and Chinakhov. Edstrom would tie the game up with 9 minutes and 49 seconds to go. Wow, his second goal of the season, assisted by Rempe. Roslovic would score just 40. Hold on a second, we do the math on this one. 20, 30, 40, 50, 46 seconds after that, getting his fourth goal of the year, assisted by Johnny Gaudreau, giving the Blue Jackets a 3-2 lead. Provorov would increase the lead to 4-2 with just a minute and 25 seconds remaining. That would be his fifth goal of the year from Roslovic and Johnny Gaudreau. There was no scoring in the third, so a major upset, 4-2 in favor of the Blue Jackets over the Rangers. So that halted the Rangers' winning streak at 10 games. So with the victory, the Blue Jackets, as I just previously said, still have the worst record in that division with a record of 19-28-10. And despite the loss, the Rangers are still sitting comfortably in first place in that Metropolitan Division with a record of 39-17-3. All right, the next matchup was an original six matchup between the Detroit Red Wings, and they went into Chicago to take on the Blackhawks. Now, this was an interesting matchup for two reasons. One, you had the return of Patrick Kane, obviously being drafted by the Blackhawks and spent all those seasons with them, won 3 Stanley Cups. Many speculate he might be one of the best American-born players to ever play the game. So obviously he had his little salute. And the big thing, and I'm very shocked it took this long to do, was Chris Chelios being a former Blackhawk. Obviously he was a former Red Wing as well. Unfortunately for the Blackhawks, when he was there, he was not able to win a Stanley Cup. He went to one Stanley Cup final, I believe, in 91 or 92, but lost to the Penguins. Got traded to Detroit late in the 90s, and then he ended up winning 2 Stanley Cups with the Red Wings. So he's got a history with both of these teams, but his number 7 was officially raised to the roof, and he's basically been immortalized from here on out. So in the first, Sprong would kick things off late in that first period with 41 seconds to go, getting his 16th of the year from Fisher and Fabry. So 1-0 in favor of the Red Wings heading into the second. Entwistle would tie the game up 3 minutes and 29 seconds into that second frame, getting his third of the season from Donato and Johnson. Nick Foligno would get a power play goal with 2 minutes and 8 seconds to go, his 14th of the year from Bedard and Seth Jones. So after 40 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of the Blackhawks. Late in the third period, Alex DeBrincat, another former Blackhawk, now has joined the Red Wings, would tie the game up with 4 minutes and 16 seconds to go, getting his 22nd goal of the season, assisted by his best friend Patrick Kane and Shane Gothisberg. The overtime, and the guy that I first talked about when I was doing this matchup, Patrick Kane, who else would get the game-winning goal as 12th of the season from his best friend, Alex DeBrincat? Those guys are like, I don't know, like BFFs, to say the least. So 3-2 would be the final score in favor of the Red Wings. So Kane would spoil Chelios's big ceremony. So with the victory, the Red Wings are 32-20-6. They currently have the number 1 wildcard spot in the Atlantic, or in the East, I should say. And as for the Blackhawks, again, a very long season still continues. They now have the worst record in the NHL, 15-39-5. All right. How many more games? We got 2 more games to review from Sunday's action. Sunday's action. All right. So the next matchup took place in Winnipeg, where we had the Jets playing host to the Arizona Coyotes. All right. Let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first, Scheifele would kick things off for the Jets, getting his 17th of the year, assisted by Morrissey. Nick Schmaltz would tie the game up with 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go, his 15th of the year, assisted by Genther and Zucker. Kyle Connor would add a power play goal. I should have also mentioned for Schmaltz, that would be a power play goal. Kyle Connor would add a power play goal of his own for the Jets exactly a minute after Schmaltz scored. That would be his 22nd goal of the year from Velarde and Scheifele. With just under 3 minutes to go, so just under 4 minutes to go, 3 minutes and 26 seconds to go, Velarde would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 16th of the year from Scheifele and Morrissey. So after 20 minutes of play, it was 3-1 in favor of the Jets. In the second, Michelli would cut the deficit to 3-2, getting his 10th of the year from Balamaki and Logan Krause. And in the third, Schmaltz would get his second goal of the game, his 16th of the season, assisted by Kerfoot. And there's no scoring for the rest of the period, so therefore we would need overtime to decide a winner. And who else but Kyle Connor, Mr. Peg Jet himself, would get his 23rd goal of the season from Morrissey and Mark Scheifele. So the Jets did blow a 2-goal lead, but they managed to prevail in overtime. So with the victory, the Jets have a record of 36-15-5. At that point in the season, they were still second in that Central Division, while the Arizona Coyotes are 23-29-5, and it's looking very bleak for the Jets to have a shot at the postseason. All right, the last matchup from Sunday took place in Anaheim, where we had the Ducks playing host against the Nashville Predators. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. So no scoring in the first. We had to jump ahead to the second period, where Yossi would kick things off exactly a minute into that frame, his 12th of the year from Forsberg and Fabro. Lundestrom would tie the game up, getting his 3rd of the year from Jones and Leeson, and that goal happened with 8 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the period. So after 40 minutes of play, we were all tied up at 1. Philip Forsberg would score in the third, giving the Predators a 2-1 lead, 3 minutes and 26 seconds into that frame, his 28th of the year, assisted by Novak. McCarron would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 8th of the year from Fabro and Sherwood. Leeson would cut the deficit to 3-2, getting his 7th of the year from McTavish and Adam Henrique, and that goal happened with 2 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the frame. Just 22 seconds after Leeson scored, Gustav Nyquist would increase the lead to 4-2, assisted by Ryan O'Reilly, and for Nyquist, that would be his 15th goal of the year. So 4-2 would be the final score in favor of Nashville. With the victory, the Predators are 32-25-2. They currently have the number 2 wildcard spot in the Western Conference. And as for the Anaheim Ducks, after the loss, are 20-35-3. All right, that takes care of my recap from Sunday. As always, if you're new to this channel and like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, take care. Actually, that might have been from Monday. Hold on 1 second. I gotta make sure I'm right before I let you go. No, that was from Sunday. No. Yes, that was from Sunday. Okay, I'm getting all confused. All right, till next time, take care.